Hello everyone, my name is Kinetic, and welcome back to the Elder Scrolls Online Academy. In this video, I'll be talking about the races and the alliances of the Elder Scrolls Online, where they come from, their leaders, and their motives during this era. As mentioned in the previous video, there are three alliances in the Elder Scrolls Online: the Daggerfall Covenant, the Aldmeri Dominion, and the Ebonheart Pact. Each of the 9 playable races belongs to one of these three alliances, so choosing which race you want to play also determines which alliance you represent. Queen Aerin, a high elf and ruler of the southwest province of Somerset Isle, leads the forces of the Aldmeri Dominion. Before she was crowned queen, Aerin earned the respect of both the Khajiit and the Wood Elves by helping them with domestic issues. Now leader of the Aldmeri Dominion, Queen Aerin looks to protect Tamriel from Daedric forces and from the rule of men. The High Elves, also known as Aldmer, arrived in Tamriel thousands of years ago from a separate continent known as Aldmeris. While they can be found in many different locations around Tamriel, High Elves tend to be isolationists, largely remaining on Somerset Isle. They consider themselves to be descended in an unbroken line from the divines who created Nirn, but none more so than the royal family of Alinor. High Elves are skilled warriors but make even better sorcerers. They are among the most intelligent and magically inclined races on Nirn, making them exceptional practitioners in all forms of magic. The Khajiit of Elsewhere are a proud culture, rumored to be one of the native races of Tamriel. Their numbers, however, have dwindled significantly in recent years, following a devastating outbreak of the flu. They owe a great debt to Aerin, Queen of the High Elves, for helping to restore order after the plague's devastation. Strong, agile, and proficient with bladed weapons, the Khajiit are fearsome warriors on the front of the battlefield and deadly assassins striking from the shadows. The Wood Elves, or Bosmer, hail from the southwest province of Tamriel known as Valenwood. Unlike the High Elves in their sophisticated cities, Wood Elves rejected the formalities and civilized world in favor of a life in the wilderness. Decorated to resemble their forest surroundings, Wood Elves are extremely agile and quick, making them talented in the art of thievery. Due to their inherent mastery of the bow, Wood Elves also are considered perhaps the best archers in all of Tamriel. High King Emeric, a Breton, ruler of the northwest province of Tamriel known as High Rock, and leader of the Daggerfall Covenant Alliance. Originally a merchant lord from High Rock, Emeric's shrewd policies and masterful diplomacy helped establish an alliance with the Redguards and a war treaty with the Orcs. As leader of the Daggerfall Covenant, High King Emeric seeks to improve not just the relations of his own alliance members, but to unite all races as Emperor of Tamriel. Bretons hail from the northwest province of Tamriel known as High Rock. While mostly human in appearance, if you look closely at one, you'll find some elvish features. You see, during the beginnings of the First Era, when High Elves and Nedics, later referred to as Nords, arrived and spread across Tamriel, cultures mingled, and sometimes collided. The result was a new hybrid race of half-elf, half-man. Passionate and flamboyant, intelligent and resourceful, the Bretons are renowned and talented craftsmen, shrewd merchants, gallant cavaliers, and inventive wizards. Redguards, formerly Yokudans, hail from the western continent of Yokuda, which sank into the sea in ancient times. The cause of Yokuda's sinking is still unclear. Whether it was natural disaster or possibly an act of revenge, one thing's for sure, they needed a new land to call home. The bulk of the refugees remained on the islands they found along the way from Yokuda, while some persisted until they landed on Tamriel, south of High Rock in the province of Hammerfell. Naturally athletic, resilient, and skilled fighters, Redguards seem born for war. They excel in all forms of weapons, but have a disdain and suspicion for magic and those who use it. Orsimer, commonly known as Orcs, are perhaps one of the least respected races in Tamriel. Their origin is a twisted and tragic tale of Aldmer differences in religious beliefs and Daedric manipulation that turned an entire sect of Aldmer into a new race, the Orcs. Their settlements can be found scattered around Tamriel, but their central stronghold, Orsinium, or Orc City, is located deep in the mountains of High Rock. Feared and hated wherever they go, Orcs have had a hard time settling in Tamriel. For all their hardships though, their ancient culture forged from the endless warfare in their harsh mountain homelands has ultimately transformed them into one of the most intimidating forces on the battlefield. Jae-Hoon, the Scold King, a Nord, hails from the northern province of Tamriel known as Skyrim. Acting as High King of the Ebonheart Pact, he leads the forces of the Alliance, but he does not lead alone. The Alliance and its actions are ultimately voted on by the leaders of all three races, like a council referred to as the Great Moot. It's the most unlikely of alliances. The Nords and Dark Elves have had a long history of conflict, and the Argonians were once enslaved by Dark Elves for thousands of years. Despite being enemies in the past, it was the Akaviri invasion that forged a bond between them. With a common enemy to fight against, the three races overcame their disputes with one another to form the Ebonheart Pact. Now they are determined to control their own destiny by defeating the Empire while preserving their own fiercely independent homelands. The Nords were first known as Admorans from the northern continent of Admora. At some point in Admoran history, there was a civil war and a great number of lives were being lost to the bloody conflict. In the midst of this, a group of Admorans seeking refuge from the war sailed south away from Admora. They eventually landed on the northern shores of Tamriel in the province of Skyrim. Many years later, the Admorans, now calling themselves Nords, would prove they can do a lot more than just resist cold temperatures. These fierce warriors secured Skyrim as their home and at one point nearly conquered all of Tamriel. Excellent with weapons and all manner of warfare, Nords have given Tamriel some of its most renowned soldiers in history. The Dunmer, or Dark Elves, were formerly known as Chimer, another sect of Aldmer from Somerset Isle. Their worship of the so-called good Daedric princes Azura, Bothaya, and Mephala was too much for their high elf brethren to accept, and so they left Somerset Isle and traveled far to the east in the province of Morrowind. The Chimer, as they were called at this time, unfortunately angered Azura and were transformed into the dark-skinned elves they are today. Dark Elves' combination of powerful intellect with strong and agile physiques produce superior warriors and sorcerers. On the battlefield, they are noted for their skill with a balanced integration of the sword, the bow, and destructive magic. Argonians are a race of reptilian people native to the swampland province in the southeast known as Black Marsh. Their time in the swamps has helped them develop strong immunities to many diseases that have proved fatal to outsiders wandering into the marsh. Being native residents of Tamriel, Argonians are one of the few races completely unrelated to men or mer. As mentioned earlier, Argonians were once enslaved by the Dark Elves of Morrowind, and as a result, there is significant tension between them and the Ebonheart Pact. Well versed in magical arts, stealth, and the use of blades, Argonians make excellent scouts and skirmishers for the force of the Alliance. The Imperials would normally make the 10th race which has been playable in past Elder Scrolls games, but instead they are NPCs in the Elder Scrolls Online. The reason for this, it seems, is because during this time in Cyrodiil, also the main battlefield of the Elder Scrolls Online, the Imperials are under the rule of the Tharn family, who is more or less under the influence of Molag Bal, the main antagonist of the game. Because of that, players will instead choose from the other 9 playable races from outside of Cyrodiil that have formed an alliance to take the throne and rule Tamriel. Well friends, that's a good introduction I think to the races and alliances of the Elder Scrolls Online. It took me quite a lot of time to put this information together in a video format, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go let me know by clicking the like button and leave a comment letting me know what your favorite race is from the Elder Scrolls games. More is coming up soon, so make sure you're subscribed for the next chapter in the Elder Scrolls Online Academy. Thanks for watching this video, my name is Kinetic, and I'll see you next time.